What goes on here? Where's here? Oh, that's the Australian territory of Heard Island. Heard Island is about 2,500 miles away from the Australian mainland and features the only active Australian volcano. The first sighting of Heard Island took place in 1853 when it was spotted by an American captain named John Heard, who named the island after himself and claimed it for the United States. However, the United States government declined to claim the island. It was then claimed by the British in 1908 and remained a British territory until 1947 when it was passed over to the Australians. Today the island has a population of 0 people, but it does have a population of birds, seals, penguins, and a flightless fly. Now, fun fact, this was supposed to be posted as a short, but YouTube won't let me post shorts, so we're just going to roll with this and make it a full-length video. So let's talk about Big Ben. Who's Big Ben, you ask? No, it's not the Big Ben clock. It's actually this volcano right here. The whole thing is a volcano, and the volcano is named Big Ben, but the peak of the volcano is called Mawson Peak. There have been 3 successful parties that have reached the summit of Big Ben. The most recent one was in 2000. Big Ben spews out lava pretty often, actually. It doesn't explode like in the traditional movie sense of a volcano. The lava just kind of flows. Now, if you were thinking about going here for vacation, I would tell you to reconsider because this island has an Antarctic climate. The highest temperature during the summer is only about 42 degrees Fahrenheit or 5 degrees Celsius. The winds can also be extremely strong. If you remember that flightless fly I mentioned earlier, the reason why it's flightless is because its body is so light that the wind just picks it up and takes it away. It cannot fly on its own because of how strong the wind is. It literally devolved to survive on the island. It snows year-round on this island, and at most you'll get about maybe 2 to 2.5 hours of sunlight if you're lucky during the summer. At the very least, you'll get barely an hour. Last thing about Heard Island before we cover his friends, there has actually been a pretty considerable mortality rate of people that have visited the island in attempts to explore it. So as I mentioned earlier, the first official sighting of the island was in 1853. And then in 1855, the first sealers showed up to harvest blubber and turn it into oil. And until about the 1880s, there were plenty of expeditions to go here to get more sealers there to process more blubber. And within these 3 decades of sealing expeditions, 14 ships were wrecked near the island, and about 30 sealers died. Most of them died on the way to the island after being washed overboard and taken by the seas. By the 1880s, the elephant seal population was greatly reduced, so the sealers left. Then in the early 1900s, the whalers and the sealers came back to, hang out on the island some more and ravage some more populations. But then after the 1930s, the sealers and whalers just kind of dipped, and now it's mainly only visited by geologists and scientists. Then in 1952, during an Antarctic research expedition, 2 members of this expeditionary party were killed during an expedition after one was taken away by the seas again and one froze to death during a storm. That means that at least 32 people have died either going to the island or exploring the island. So again, if you're going to go, I would reconsider. Now let's talk about Heard Island's buddies. Really quick, I'm just going to cover Shag Island. It's actually an islet, and it's literally just a rock, so there's not really anything to go over here. Just know Shag Islet is just a rock by the Heard Island, and that there's already a Shag Island in Australia, but it's actually closer to the mainland. Weird. Now we will talk about the McDonald's Islands. The McDonald's Islands were discovered by this British captain named William McDonald, who named them after himself. The McDonald's Islands contain the 3 islands of McDonald Island, Flat Island, which apparently merged with McDonald Island, and Needle Island, and also a rock named Meyer Rock. Due to volcanic activity, Flat Island and McDonald Island actually merged together to create one cohesive mass. So now Flat Island doesn't really exist. So unlike the Heard Island, McDonald Island does not have a known body count, but there is a lot more volcanic activity, so it's not much safer to go to. That's it for this episode of What Goes On Here. Tune in next time. Bye.